Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. It's a beautiful December 23rd, 2021. It's Thursday morning. We will not have a Zoom training tomorrow because it's Christmas Eve. So we have a really important topic today that has a couple different elements with it. But if you stick with me, I'm confident you're going to find it very worthwhile. So looking at my rather busy screen here that I'm sharing with you, if technology is working, we're going to just go through quickly a funding offer that one of our clients received yesterday morning, and then we're going to spend most of our time talking about teaching the 27 mistakes curriculum and getting it into your hands to do so. So for the second tranche of financing, that happens after we've helped the client build their loan package. And as a white label partner, you're instrumentally involved with gathering those documents. But this is a real example from yesterday. One of our bank partners sent an email to our client after we had applied with this funding offer. And essentially the email said, yes, I accept, or no, I decline. And it would be hard to imagine to want to decline. But this gentleman was looking for $400,000, and that's what the funding offer is. It is adjustable interest. And frankly, my client had concerns about adjustable interest. But what we know is we're in a period of unusually low interest rates, and that over a 10-year repayment term, it's very likely that the Federal Reserve will increase interest rates. Most likely they'll increase it a time or two next year. So we do have to recognize that lenders are going to look to protect themselves. While a fixed interest rate might be preferable for these larger amounts, it may very well be adjustable. But it's not that the client's portion is adjusting. It's 2.75%. I mean, who would complain about that? But what is possible is that the prime rate may vary, and there's no prepayment penalty. So again, not a real big deal, and we see this frequently. I just wanted to give you an example of the type of success that we're seeing for the second tranche of funding. The first tranche is what we're trying to get clients within that first 5, 7, 10 days of coming aboard before the loan package is built out. This is an example after the loan package is built out. Okay, so moving on. Teaching financial literacy. As a former high school teacher, as a former college professor, I'm a big advocate of teaching. And teaching can, I think, be rewarding in its own right. Certainly in your case, it should generate a massive sales funnel. I remember back when I worked for the SBA through the Small Business Development Center, one of the first things I'd ask my bosses, can I go out and teach? I want to go out into local communities. I want to connect through local chambers, local economic development corporations, even libraries. I want to go out and teach about financial literacy because I just know, and I think you'll agree, I just know most people are financially illiterate. And we'll expand upon that a little bit. We're going to actually go briefly through the PowerPoint in a minute. So that was foreign to him. A lot of governmental employees, they would rather just sit in their office and wait for people to come to them, where I think what you and I like to do is get out in front of our target audience. Now, in the days of COVID, you may want to teach it online or in person or some combination of the two, and it's available in both formats. As we'll go through in a minute, the curriculum, the PowerPoint, we'll actually go through it, and it's online, 27mistakes.org, by the way, in a YouTube format. It's really good information, and it's going to position you as the go-to resource. If you're not comfortable teaching it, fine. We'll teach it in a white label format. So you can set it up. I'll teach it, but I won't disclose my name. I won't disclose our organization. I'll just be your guest speaker. And so that's fine too if you're not comfortable teaching it. Ultimately, though, teaching makes a difference for the audience because we're going to build their financial literacy, which is sorely needed. And then it's going to position you to earn an adult income. One of the neat things about being here towards the end of the year, we're almost to January 1st, is it's an opportunity for you to reflect on how did 2021 go for you and what do you want to accomplish in the upcoming year. And if generating more income is a priority for you, I strongly encourage you to teach, because by teaching, you're going to help people and you're going to create a massive pipeline that's going to really magnify your income. We're going to talk about free leads, and I'm going to show you that here in just a second. We want to continue to listen to you, what's working, what's not, help you overcome barriers. And as long as you're in good standing, and you want to teach this, we'll get you the leads. We just talked yesterday about using text campaigns to contact leads. And so I think we talked about text magic, and we went through all that on yesterday's training. Well, one of the things we talked about is if you're going to have a text campaign, which is very cheap, right? It's 4 cents per text. You can reach 100 people for $4. But the bottom line is you have to have a call to action of each text. It could be that your call to action is to feed people into your 27 Mistakes webinar or in-person workshop. So we're going to do 2 demos today. I want to spend a little time going through the PowerPoint, and I also want to go through the data axle. One of the target audiences I really like, so not dismissing any other, but our new start businesses, capturing those businesses that have recently formed, reaching out to them and inviting them into the 27 Mistakes curriculum, whether it be your online webinar or in-person workshop. So let's go ahead and make this larger. And so we'll take, again, we've shown you how to use this before, but we're to the point now, it's like, fine, we'll just get you the leads and I'll show you where they come from, but we'll just do this for you if that would be helpful. All right, so we're in US New Business Database, and what we have within Data Axle, this used to be called Sales Genie or even Reference USA, which I guess is still their URL there. Let's say that we want to figure out how to identify new start businesses. So let's start by filtering off business filings. We want those that have filed a DBA or a corporation. I don't really care about those that have filed for licenses. I'm going to pick a date range, and I want to focus on those formed in the last week. I need to pick the geographic area. And so you could narrow it down as much as you want, but let's just say that we're going to do a webinar, which is more common right now with COVID. And so I'm just going to invite, let's say, Texas new start businesses. So I can scroll down, choose Texas, it moves over here. So I'm looking for Texas new start businesses within the past week, corporations or DBAs. And then I hit update count, 4,000, not bad. 4,700 new businesses formed in the past week that I could be inviting. So I could be doing workshops in person or online every week. So let's go ahead and see the results. It comes up, and here's a long list, and we'll drill into it for a second. But we can do a heat map. It's like, well, where are these businesses forming? And so, of course, I looked only on Texas, but you can see where there's clusters. It's called a heat map. And you would expect they're in the larger cities, right? There's quite a few in Dallas, and a lot in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Houston, Austin, San Antonio. What can happen, though, is we can continue to drill down. Let's say that you're in the Dallas area and you want to see exactly where are the hot spots for new business in Dallas. And so you can continue to drill down and see where the hottest spots are. I don't know if you care about that or not, but to me, it's interesting. Now we can also go back and we can get a summary, and that's not what I wanted. Sorry, I wanted charts. And so with charts, I can see the top SIC codes, in other words, industry codes. So of the new businesses in Texas over the past week that filed a DBA or new corporation documents, what are the most popular industries? 139 of them are in the investment industry, 124 in trucking, 108 in real estate, and so forth. And you could even drill in. Let's say that you wanted to target trucking companies. So then you could pull just those 124. Again, we're offering to do this work for you. Now, some of the data has phone numbers and some doesn't. We're going to want to focus on those with phone numbers. So it's interesting that a lot of these do not have phone numbers, but we can sort. What I've seen is when we go after the most recent data within the past week, sometimes all the data hasn't been uploaded. So when they're that new, sometimes you'll be missing data, and we'll obviously filter off of those only with phone numbers, because if we're going to use the text campaign to invite them, we need the phone number. All right, so let's go back. So what else did we have? So we can drill in on anyone. We looked at the heat map and the summary and the charts. So we can drill in and say, okay, who's this TNC Global Trucking new company? And they formed a new DBA. It's a home-based business, which is great. They're probably interested in capital to start and grow. And so this would be a great prospect to invite in to our workshop. So that's how the data axle works. Used to be called Reference USA or Sales Genie. And as I mentioned, we'll run those for you if that would be helpful to invite into your 27 mistakes. So let's go ahead and get into the 27 mistakes. We've made a few updates on this, but we're going to provide this to you in an editable format, because that will allow you to make the changes that you want to make, incorporate your information in. I'm not going to go through this as I would if we were actually teaching it, because that would take closer to an hour. I'm just going to go through the slides briefly, make a few comments, and if you want to hear me rattling this off full length, you can go to 27mistakes.org. But the goal is for you to use this to create a sales funnel. And I'll show you as we go through the slides, I think both the value of the information and how it will dovetail into how you can help them as a white label partner. All right, so let's just go through the slides briefly. So we'll typically, if I'm doing this for you, then this slide will be removed, because this needs to be what we consider a white label approach. So it's all about you, not about me. But if I'm out teaching it, people usually want to know, well, what's your credibility? And so that's mine. You could put yours on there, or again, if I'm teaching it for you, we just leave that slide off. So we talk about why it's relevant and helping the audience understand that what we're telling them is true and factual, but it's not meant to be a detriment. So there are things that a company can do, an entrepreneur can do to become more credible. But if they don't have all those things right now, don't worry about it. We're here to help them. So this doesn't become a sales presentation, don't misinterpret, but they do need to understand that what they're learning, if there are issues, that's okay, that you have the resources to help them. That's my point. So we dig into the 27 mistakes. How many are there? 27. So we talk about business name mismatch, and I'll let you go through that at your own pace. Some of these are more important than others. Number 2 is not being in good standing with the state. Number 3 is high risk industry. Entity selections, number 4. Having an EIN is number 5. The business address is really an important one, because as you know, we're working with many of you where you're acquiring a commercial building using our 100% real estate financing and then plugging into the cheap business address network. Well, a lot of people don't have a true unique business address. And so that is something that you can help them with. When you're going through this, you're wanting to plant kind of the subtle seed that, hey, we can help you with these issues. If you don't have it in place, that's okay, but you don't want it to feel like a sales presentation. So you won't go into details of your solutions to help people, but you'll educate them about the relevant mistakes, and then just continue to reaffirm, hey, we've got resources to help you if you don't match up well on this. And then when you visit with them individually, you'll get them enrolled in the Access to Capital program, and then we can provide these additional resources that they might need. So business address is important. And a lot of small businesses don't know this. They don't know that the business address makes a difference. Mistake number 7 is getting a business phone number. Mistake number 8 is having a website, email address. And you'll see this when they come into you and they're using Yahoo or American Online or Gmail, you know that there's an issue, but you don't want to hit them over the head with that. You just want to let them know that that does not position them as well as they could. And you want to get them enrolled in the Access to Capital program, and then we can work through these issues. You don't want them to think that they need to resolve these issues before they enroll. That's not it at all. You want to get them enrolled immediately after the workshop. Hopefully you have a landing page set up with Scott Stroud, our Chief Marketing Officer. You drive them into that landing page. Hopefully you have your terms and conditions online so people can just sign up easily. Most people that come through your workshop will likely sign up immediately afterwards if you present it effectively. Mistake number 9, having a business bank account. I know to you and I, it's like, well, of course, but you'd be surprised by how many entrepreneurs haven't done that. They need a business bank account. Number 10, business licensing may or may not apply, depends upon the industry and the area. Getting the business credit report set up, you know, the Duns and Bradstreet, Experian Business, Equifax Business, and that's part of the Access to Capital curriculum. So again, you subtly let them know, hey, if you don't have this in place, we'll help you with it. Don't make it a sales presentation, but this is important. Of course, this also dovetails back to the importance of having a unique commercial business address. Otherwise, you can't build business credit effectively. See, number 12, inadequate business scores, kind of that next step. So once the profiles are set up properly with Dun & Bradstreet, Experian Business, Equifax Business, then we need to go ahead and start adding some trade lines and getting the scores up. That's part of what we do with no additional cost and Access to Capital. So you and I can help them with that. Inadequate personal credit. So what you and I know is that there are different sources of capital, and each have their own underwriting criteria. Do all of them look at personal credit? Absolutely not. And that's true for any of these things. So if they don't have good business credit, will that keep them from getting funding? No, it'll impact some sources of funding. If they have shitty personal credit, will that keep them from getting funded? No, not necessarily. Just some sources of capital are impacted by that. But you will find that some people have bad personal credit or challenged personal credit. And now, as we recently announced, we're doing the 60-day credit sweep for free for Access to Capital clients. So they used to have to pay for that. It's at least $1,000 value. Now they're getting it for free. So again, we educate them a bit, but let them know, no worries. If that's a problem, we can help you with it for free. Collateral is another area. You and I kind of live and breathe are the 3 C's. If you want to borrow money, you need to either have credit, cash flow, which is also called capacity, or collateral. You have to have at least one of the 3 C's. The more of the 3 C's you have, the better. A lot of people don't know that. And when it comes to collateral, they often aren't considering that. But you and I can add collateral. We can add accounts receivable to their balance sheet that is income producing. So if you're one of our participating debt buyers, this is great. We get collateral put on their balance sheet, assets put on their balance sheet that can serve as collateral, and you normally make right around $10,000 for each debt portfolio that you place. So again, we're primarily educating, but we're just closing out this slide like some of the others with, hey, if you don't meet this criteria, that's okay, we can help you. I would recommend when you're going through this presentation, you don't want to take a lot of questions from the audience. Instead, you want to drive them into a one-on-one conversation afterwards. So their questions are important, but what you want to do is be able to address those questions on a personal, confidential, one-on-one basis, and then immediately get them enrolled into Access to Capital, preferably using your landing page that Scott or whomever has developed for you with online terms and conditions. Having a business plan. And I think sometimes entrepreneurs think, well, business plans are kind of nice to have, but is it really necessary? Well, for some sources of capital, absolutely is. And for if no other reason, we need to state to the lender how much capital we're looking for and what we're going to use it for. And I have many clients that'll be working on their business plans, and they really haven't thought through it. They really don't know how much capital. They'll say 100,000 because that's a guarantee, right? Well, fine, but what are you going to use that 100,000 for? I don't know. Well, we can't go to a bank and ask for a $100,000 loan for I don't know. So business plans are important for the reader, and the primary reader that we're worried about is the lender. Secondly, having financial projections. And again, like we said, we're going to help them build a business plan. You'll see some references to small business certification program. I'll explain that if that's foreign to you here in a minute. But we'll help with the business plan, help get financial projections. And I know that's difficult, right? In today's turbulent time, and I don't even know what my income will be 3 months from now. How can you ask me what my income will be 36 months from now? Well, it's a future projection. We don't know with great accuracy, but we need to make some sort of prediction that we're going to be profitable enough to pay back the loan. Otherwise, the lender is not going to want to loan us the money, right? All right, moving on to slide 20, uses of funds. And I kind of touched on that before. We have to be able to articulate what we want the money for, what we're going to use it for. And some people haven't flushed through that, and that'll impact where we go for capital. Maybe we want real estate, maybe we want equipment, maybe it's just working capital, but we'll help them with that. But it's just explaining to them in this educational format that that's important. Industry experience. Again, not all sources of capital look at industry experience, but some do. And so having a bio or a resume can be helpful, and that is collected in module 4. Mistake number 19 is not having an advisory team. It's really important to have an advisory team, and a lot of these small businesses don't. And so I think this is a great opportunity for you, the white label partner, to have relationships with one or more CPAs in your area that you could refer clients to, that could refer their clients to you. Same with attorneys and business coaches. And if you're not a licensed insurance agent, you need one or more agents to write your key person policies that can be a referral partner. And then, of course, you're their capital advisor, or what we call technical advisor. Feasibility data. Understanding who your target market is, how they're going to generate leads, making sure that they have proper asset protection. And those of you that are getting life insurance licensed love this, because you're going to find most of them would benefit from a key person policy. If they have partners, they probably will need a buy-sell policy. And there's all other types of asset protection that they may not have adequate coverage for. Cash contribution. And so depending upon the source of capital, the lender may look for the borrower, who's your and my client, to bring some cash contribution to the table. And so if they're light on cash, then we may have to layer it, which is easily done. You need to make sure that they're running their business like a business. And oh my God, and this could be hit kind of close to home for some of you, no offense meant, but if you're running a business, you need to run it properly. And part of that is having some sort of software like QuickBooks or some sort of small business accounting software to track your revenue and expenses, and be able to calculate your assets and liabilities for balance sheets and so forth. And so you know, as well as I know, when we get to module 3 with them, we're going to be talking to them about balance sheets and income statements. And if they're using QuickBooks or something like QuickBooks, then it is super simple to create those financial statements. If not, it's a little more painful. And so the concept here is just letting them know, there's more to running a business than just filing with the state, getting an EIN, and opening a bank account. You need to run it properly. So we're introducing this. This is an interesting one, and it's a sensitive one, but it's true. So what you and I do as white label partners is we will promise any entrepreneur assistance in raising at least $100,000. We'll guarantee that. It's in writing, not a problem. But you'll have some people that come to you that have, and I'll say this respectfully, outlandish expectations. It's like if I came to you, John Stockton's on here. And so if I came to you, John, as a white label partner, I said, John, I'm looking for right about $1 billion because I want to open a new semiconductor plant. I've heard there's a shortage of these chips that's affecting electronics and cars. I've decided I'm going to go ahead and open my own semiconductor plant, Mr. Stockton, and I need $1 billion to get that started. Well, is that a reasonable capital raise expectation? Well, it depends upon the borrower's circumstances. One of you, let me see if you're on here. You're not, but Wilkie's one of our new white label partners. His very first client submission, which was yesterday, thank you, Wilkie, earns over $2 million of earned income per year, verifiable income. Wow. Well, that person has a few more options than the average person like me or maybe you. So the bottom line is there is some finessing of matching the client's circumstances to their capital raise. And then ultimately, we really need to match the client to the right type of capital based upon their mitigating circumstances, which means their credibility, the business's credibility, the uses of funds, the amount of funds, and so forth. And that's what you and I vet through by taking people through the Access to Capital program. So I'll close on this and, of course, answer any questions. So I told you I would address this. So if you go to the IIMFL website at your convenience, you'll see that we offer a small business certification. And we've talked about this in other trainings, so this isn't new. But the point, just so you know, the small business certification is just the 4 modules. It's not a guaranteed capital raise. There's no capital raise involved. It's just putting together the package. And so we offer that to the audience if they would like it. We don't offer it for free. We have a very minimal charge, $99 a week for 4 weeks. It takes 4 weeks to put that together. So it's around $400. We split that 50-50 with you. Fine. But the point is, and we've covered this in a different training, are you really trying to get people to enroll in the small business certification and pay $396 or $99 a week for 4 weeks? No. What you really want them to do is to know, hey, yeah, this is available, but by the way, we do have the grant subsidized Access to Capital program. There's no upfront cost and a $100,000 guarantee. So while it's available, I'd recommend you might want to go ahead and enroll in the Access to Capital, no upfront cost, 100,000 guarantee, and we still go through the 4-week curriculum. The small business certification is incorporated in the Access to Capital. 9.5 out of 10 people will take you up on that. So it's not a bait and switch. I mean, we do offer the small business certification curriculum. If people want to pay for it, they don't want a guarantee of funding, great. They can pay for it and go through it. So that was a mouthful. So what we've done is we've gone through and talked. We had a funding success story at the beginning of our webinar today. We clarified that we're not having a webinar tomorrow on Christmas Eve. No surprise, back on Monday. And then we've talked about the importance of going out and teaching. We find that this curriculum, which we wouldn't charge for, this curriculum should be taught at no charge to the client, by the way, typically. If you have a host that's helping you promote it and they insist on a fee, then of course, what are you going to do? We have different curriculum that we go out and normally charge a fee for. So that's separate. So this is normally a free educational session, in person or online. You can teach it, or we can have someone teach it for you. No cost to you, of course. And then it's a great, powerful funnel builder. And then we also talked about if you need help with leads, we'll do that for you for free. We showed you how we can go through and filter off of, we really like new start businesses. So let's get into the questions you have before we wrap it up today. Pierre is asking, so sorry for confusion. So this education is not set up to be fee-based. It should be free education, and our financial literacy educators that are out teaching The more detailed curriculum are usually going to get paid for those teaching those courses. Here, we're using this as a free financial literacy experience to fill your funnel. So thank you, Pierre, for that question and clarification. So who else has any questions on 27 mistakes? Okay, so Timothy's asking, can we send it out? So we are happy to do the following. We're happy to provide you this editable version of the PowerPoint. I sent you all a sample flyer this morning that can be edited. We're happy to support you. All we ask is be in good standing. And so what we asked within the past couple of days is schedule your 2021 reconciliation. And those don't happen with me. I have staff. They're going to meet with you, your schedule with them, have a one-on-one, go through every client that you submitted this year. Make sure those clients are taken care of. And then also talk about where you want to go forward. If you don't want to continue to be a white label partner in 2022, that's fine. We'll get you unplugged. Most everyone's wanting to continue on, but we need to wrap up 2021 and get your reconciliation done if you've not done that before we're going to support you with the free leads and supporting you with this educational curriculum. But there's no charge. We're not charging you for the leads, not charging you for this curriculum. No worries. No worries there. All right. So I'm not going to, Kelly's asking a question. I'm not going to talk about the fee-based curriculum today because I think that'll confuse. We'll talk about that a different day. But here we're talking about a free curriculum, the 27 mistakes that can be taught in person or online. You can teach it or we can have someone teach it for you. There's no cost to have someone to teach it for you. And if someone else is teaching it, they're going to be the term I use, white label. They're not going to announce their name. They're not going to announce any other business. They're just going to go through the content for your benefit. So you would set up the workshop, you would conduct it, you would meet with the client, the participants afterwards, and help them get enrolled. They're just going to be the guest speaker if you want someone else to do that. All right, Glenda, I see you have your hand up. If you want to go ahead and type the question into the Q&A, and we'll see if we have any other questions. All right, George is asking about audience size. And so again, frankly, we love teaching in person, but with the whole COVID resurgence, I think most likely you'll be primarily teaching this online, and audience size really doesn't matter. It could be a few or it could be a lot. You certainly want to have a registration ability to register people, and we can help you with that if need be, because ultimately it doesn't even matter if they show up for your webinar, your 27 mistake webinar. If they register, they've kind of raised their hand as a lead. So you prefer that they show up, but even if they don't show up, since they've registered, you can follow up with them, get them to your landing page, get them to agree to the terms and conditions, and they can become a client. This is great. Susan's asking, using this with hosts. So that's right. You could go to churches and chambers and organizations and key influencers, share with them this valuable content, let them know that you'd like to do it. We could, obviously, our logo wouldn't be on here if it's you doing this. And if you're doing working with a host, like a co-branded, you'd have their logo on here probably. All right, are there any other questions for today? We will not have a Zoom tomorrow. We'll regroup on Monday. Any other questions? All right, thanks so much. Have a great day. Happy holiday weekend. We'll see you Monday morning.